Good morning and welcome to our monthly interview with Greene County Mayor David Crum, discussing some of the issues in county government. Mayor Crum, always a pleasure to have you with us.
Good morning, Jim. Good morning, Greene County.
Well, the County Commission met Monday night, and it was a relatively uneventful meeting. Of course, with all the budget issues in the rearview mirror for the time being, just kind of more of a housekeeping type of meeting. And just some of the items that were talked about were just basically pretty much just some resolutions just for some budget items. So it was pretty quick.
It was, of course, the big thing that we have to deal with each year is that budget and getting it behind us to get started for the next year to continue operations. And with us taking care of that last month, it was a relatively quick meeting, and we progressed fairly rapidly the other night.
Well, among the items that were discussed, some of the resolutions that passed on through were just some budget amendments. One of them was carrying over some solid waste money to complete some projects that were started last year over at the solid waste department.
There was some sale from surplus equipment last year that was budgeted to allow for some little extra room down there to store recyclables. And so we'll hit that again here, recycle that cardboard and plastic where we can generate some revenue down there and keep it out of the landfill. But at the end of the budget year, a lot of times those purchase orders and things expire, so we just had to carry over. It wasn't any additional money. It was just a carry over from money that had been budgeted last year.
One of the items that certainly was talked about at some length and has resulted in some adjustments is the contribution with the convenience center hours having been adjusted back at the end of July. Greystone was one of the two centers that was closed on Saturdays, and the Greystone Ruritan Club had made a contribution to the county to fund the employee position for the month of August, and that came up for a resolution, and it kind of wound up veering off in a little bit of a different direction.
Yeah, we had, when we looked at all those hours, the commission, whenever we had our workshop, wanted to try to set convenience center hours where there was some place open every day. We actually had 4 originally that were looked to be closed on Saturday, and our director, Tim Armstrong, didn't feel that 2 of those would be able to handle the garbage load if we did that. So we ended up having 2, and Greystone Ruritan had wanted to take that on as a community project, and the commission felt it best not to accept that money. They wanted just to close other days in the week and open up on Saturday. So we've got all of them are open now on Saturday 8 to 4. And then you can look at the adjusted hours. Nothing else changed except that Greystone and Orbank.
And again, if anybody does want to see what the hours are, we have them on our webpage at greenville.com. And, of course, they could always call their local convenience center and see if it's going to be open or drive by and jot down the number. They keep them updated on the signs, I would assume.
They keep them updated on the signs, but they won't be able to call the convenience center. I didn't know, Jim, we actually closed those telephones down last year to save $5,000. Mm-hmm. We had a $5,000 a year telephone bill by having those centers there. Now, the center workers can still make calls out. We replaced the traditional landline with a cell phone, so they can contact other centers, truck operators, their office, and, of course, 911 on any cell phone if they had an emergency. But those are on our website, and if it's centers that you traditionally use, yeah, they're posted there at the site.
Other issue that was brought up on Monday night's meeting was about juvenile detention. Greene County's been involved with the detention center for juveniles up in Johnson City. It's been somewhat of a higher cost, and Sevier County has a much more favorable rate. And the county commission has said that you can now enter into agreement with Sevier County to try and get a more favorable rate to house some of their juvenile offenders.
Did back about 84, I guess. There was a group of the 7 counties here in Upper East Tennessee went together because there was a need to have a place to house juveniles. So there's kind of a multi-county agreement that's been in place for many years. And last year it just really hit us hard that we had several juveniles up there for an extended period of time. So we got to looking at some of the other facilities that do house juveniles, and Sevier County does that. And so they were agreeable to take some at what would be a lower cost because it's just excess capacity to them. But we can't really walk away from that agreement we've got with it's located in Washington County, but it's multiple counties, because Sevier County, in order for them to guarantee bed space, wanted a $50,000 cost. And if that doesn't work out, if the transfers and things provide cumbersome to Sevier County, I feel it's in the best interest of the county to have those multiple options. As I talked to our juvenile court officer, I said, if the judge has a juvenile in court and it's 11 o'clock and something happens, and he says, I'll see you tomorrow, it may be much more convenient to still go up to Johnson City than it would be to Sevierville. And so we kind of need to continue that relationship up there that we've got, and give us that option, especially for the long-term housing that we may have, or we may have multiple juveniles that have got into serious offense that we need to get them separated.
Now, the difference is, if I understand this correctly, Sevier County, it's just strictly the cost to house the offender, but Johnson City, there's some infrastructure, and the county contributes a share towards the operation of that?
They do. It's got a higher base cost for the housing of the juvenile, but then we have to also contribute some of the fixed costs to that facility. So we have an investment there that I don't think it's best for us to walk away from until we see how that operation would be over in Sevierville.
Another resolution that was approved was, as you put it, sometimes things come up that need to be addressed quickly, and there was an approval made to have. I guess the best way to kind of describe it, I may be off base here, is just kind of, it's almost like a petty cash situation where you have a fund where you can draw some money out in an emergency basis to take care of some issues that may come up if there's a repair that needs to be done quickly. You can explain that a little bit.
It was. We actually ended up having two resolutions that by now we wouldn't have to just be making the information. The driver's license office was built some years ago by the county, and they pay rent to the county for that. Well, the parking lot's in need of striping and resurfacing. And so we got that cost, and it came back, and it'll be paid out of capital projects, and it'll be under $3,000. And some of our vehicles are getting very old, especially building and zoning and some of those. And we'd ran across a vehicle about a month ago, but it was after budget and finance and all that, down at surplus auction, that I think we bought it for $37.50. And so it seemed like a really good deal, so we went ahead and got it and brought it up, with this giving me, as county mayor, the discretion to spend up to an amount of funds on day-to-day things. I'd be able to go ahead and take care of those things that are come up between budget meetings and county commission meetings, to get them done, and then would just inform the commission at the budget meeting. It'd be on the agenda just like this, and other business, that surfacing and striping was done and a vehicle purchased, and give them the information on the need for that. And of course, they would always have that option. If they felt I made a decision that wasn't in the best interest of the county, they can do a resolution and rescind that. And we don't run into this a lot, but Greene County is a big facility, and there's some of those general things that just do come up that need taken care of, that don't need to wait 3 weeks or 4 for the next meeting.
Other items that were talked about at the meeting on Monday night, Sheriff Hankins talked about the jail and about getting their inspection, and he might be able to speak a little better of how that went, but he seemed pretty pleased with how the first round of inspections went for the jail this year.
He was. I think they had 6 items that needed corrective action, and they were very minor. He didn't go into detail, but I think one of them, they had, not everybody, but there was some officers had their pepper spray that expired. I mean, it's probably going to work just as good, but the expiration date, plus they had added some new requirements that were very minor that had been put into place since the last inspection that they were just not aware of. So those were some things that just need some adjustment, but they're very, very minor, have nothing to do with the safety, security of the facility, and that part of it went very well. They were very pleased with it, but I guess he explained it good. It's kind of like inspection on a restaurant and stuff. It's hard to get 100. You got to find something wrong to make sure they know that you came there and dug deep. But it went real well, and of course he brought in one of the new canines that they've acquired through that's been a rescue that they're still training to work on, and then McGruff made an appearance. I think a lot of people that went to the fair may have seen McGruff, the crime dog, that he's got to do some community service promotions there for crime prevention.
And I saw. Well, we were at the fair on last Thursday night, and saw McGruff out there, and he was interacting with the kids, and I think that'll be something. Of course, everybody knows McGruff take a bite out of crime. So it was he was there in full gear, and you even let him gavel the meeting to a close, which I think McGruff got a kick out of that.
Yeah. So it's good to have that progressive nature there, looking at crime prevention.
Well, since the last time we spoke, the county now has an EMS director. He'll be getting he's kind of getting his feet on the ground right now, and he'll be ready to start full time in the next couple of weeks. And that's Chuck Kearns. And just tell us a little bit about what that's going to mean to the EMS services in the county.
Chuck has an extensive background in EMS, and I think it appears we've been very fortunate in having someone that's looking to locate to this area. He's got children, of course, our schools. This is a great place to raise kids, and he was kind of looking at moving back into this direction. And when we were doing the interview with him and then started narrowing down that he was going to be the person that we felt would be the one and making reference checks and things. Actually, one of the first people said, well, I'd hire him, but we can't afford him. And not that we're paying him an exorbitant salary, but he just comes that qualified. And so I think it's just going to be a great move and get us some stability in there. And some of the things that he brought up in the interview were things and that EMS can just move to a completely new level of patient care and interaction with our hospital. And so it's just going to be exciting, I think, in the next few months as he kind of gets used to Greene County and getting settled in here with his family.
1 year ago at this time, you had just been elected and you were about to be sworn into office. It's probably been a whirlwind year for you, but where do you feel now as far as everything stands, as far as your job and the county situation versus when you came in last year at this time?
That first month was just treading water in the deep end with waves crashing, seemed like, with no budget. But I really believe in the long run that was the best thing for the commissioners and myself, and the new department heads really had to dig in and look and see the financial condition our county was in, and it was in pretty bad financial shape. Fortunately, with the wheel taxes helped generate some revenue that's brought our general fund to even and gives us the opportunity to do some things. We've still got a couple areas that as far as budgeting that requires some real work. I mean, we had to cut some hours in the solid waste. It's still tremendously expensive. It cost us $2 million a year to dispose and take care of that. So it's going to require some areas that we look at in the next year in that level of service, because we're still taking out of the general fund. The highway department taking money out of its fund. So I think we've made some real progress, but we've still got a long ways to go to help get in good financial stead. And so we've got kicking into the next year, and we've got a little more experience, but it's been a whirlwind of activity. It's never a lack of anything to do.
Certainly has been so far for this year, and I guess when you take a look at the budget process in how Greene County's budget process worked, we'll look at some of the other surrounding counties and some of the problems that they've been having. It kind of makes you think a little bit about the work that everybody did working together to bring the budget together.
Yeah, they really have. The budget went really smooth this year, I think, for the most part, and yeah, some of the other counties have some serious problems. I mean, I talked to the Unicoi County mayor and their lack of revenue that they can generate because they just don't have a tax base up there with so much being federal properties, and most of the other counties had to look at some type of increase of revenue. So it's just been an interesting, exciting year, and we'll just continue doing, as I say, I do the best I can every day, and that's all I can work at.
Anything else that's on your agenda right now that you want to share with the public while you have a chance?
I know we've got a Battle of the Badges that I just kind of want to promote that a little bit because American Cancer Society, it's one of those things that J.D. Medals and American Greetings are working, so you'll be hearing some more things about that as it comes up. School's back in session. Continue to watch out for those little ones and those big yellow vehicles that are driving all over the county.
I think the start of the school year this year went as smoothly as I can ever remember it. Usually you hear some issues of something going on, but I think that this year was just such a smooth start to the school year, and I think that's a credit to everyone, students, faculty, staff, and everybody who's involved with it.
Yeah. And let's mention Dave McClain. I mean, you've got a lot of new people. We got a new superintendent or director of schools in both city and county schools. And, as they come in, and, of course, David had a little more experience with the county school system, but, you're right. I mean, they've got a lot of things and going on in our school systems.
And I think the fair was a success this year as well. The opening night was a little bit wet, but the weather turned out to be great. They had good crowds the last couple nights of the fair, and it's just it's a wonderful experience for anybody who gets a chance to get out there and experience it each year.
And, I don't want to steal any thunder. We did mention you brought up the Sheriff's Department and his comments that he made, and the work program that he's worked through with adult education program here and putting workers down at one of our facilities that I think, and you can help me, Jim, seems like it's about $5,500.
Yeah, it's about 50. I think it was about $5,800. So that's the number
that they've been able, through inmates who are working on a regular job, collecting their salary down at a manufacturing facility, that they've been able to, through the revenue, the paycheck, put money in to pay fines and costs and take care of some things that would not have been done. So it's just a tremendously innovative program that's putting people to work, and hopefully whenever they get out, they'll continue. They've got a job, and it'll be good for the community and good for them, that they've got some hope when they get out of employment. And so that was, again, one of those things that's been implemented. It was just a tremendous program.
There's a lot of innovative activities going on. I know Recovery Court is having a graduation, I believe, today, and that's going to be something that's really going to be it's always a great day whenever they're able to get out of that program and hopefully apply what they've learned to the next phase of their lives.
It is, and Recovery Court requires them to have a job, so that's putting people to work.